Hey everybody, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain and listen to me talk about this dream. It may be long or it may be short. I don't know, but I know that it's deep. I'll try to make it short. Um, the dream started out uh fairly normal. It was just like a regular day, and uh I don't know what the hell I was doing, but my but my husband came up to me and he was like, I got concert tickets from a friend at work, and we're gonna go. It's tonight. And I was like, awesome. And when I looked at him, like, I knew that it was my current husband that I have right now, Sonny. But when I looked at him, it was my like second boyfriend that I ever had, and like one of those ones, one of those ones that teaches you a big lesson. And but I knew it was Sunny. I looked at him. He looked like, I'll just call him Blue. He looked like Blue, and but I knew it was Sunny. And he was like, we're gonna go to the concert, right? Um the his friend from work is shows up, and he's like, oh, my friend's here. And out of this car pops my ex best friend. Uh, we'll call her Martha. And it's freaking Martha. And I'm like, whoa, you know Martha? And he's like, yeah, we work together. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen Martha in a long time. And she came in and she was kind of snotty. Our relationship, like in real life, didn't end on the best of terms. She was another one of those relationships that taught me something. She was my best friend and also my cousin. We met when we were 6 at our great grandpa's like 100th birthday. And we loved each other ever since. And it's funny because her birthday was exactly 6 months apart from mine. Hers is June 10th and mine's December 10th. So we were exact opposites. And we were together for a long, long, long time, and ended up, she was the first person that I ever had to walk away from for my own sanity. Um, it was really hard. Okay, we're not going there. But anyways, it was her, right? And she was snotty, right? She got out of the car. She was snotty. She looked at me and she was like, "Oh God, it's you." And her and Sunny like sat in the front seat, and I sat in the back seat. Her and Sunny slash Blue sat in the front seat, and I sat in the back seat, and we went to the concert, and we like jammed out or whatever, and then we came home, and we came back to her house. We went back to her home. I guess like we like drove to her house, and she drove us all there or something. And yeah, that yeah, she drove us all there. She had like a big Suburban, and she drove us there. And we came back, and we like had some drinks, and I remember me and Sunny slash Blue passing out on the like couches in the living room, and she like went down into her basement, into her bedroom. Like, the house that we went to, it was a different house on the outside, but it was her same house that she lived in growing up on the inside. So I don't know what that means. Probably that she's different on the outside, but still the same inside. I don't know. But I woke up in the middle of the night to like a commotion happening. I looked around me and it was dark and Sunny was gone. Sunny slash Blue. And there was a baby monitor in the living room for some weird reason. And I could hear like what was going on through the baby monitor. And it was people getting busy, you know what I mean? And I was like, what the heck is going on? And so I go down into the basement and there's like this really thin, like almost cardboard like door and it's locked. And I'm like, huh, you think this is going to stop me? And I just kind of like elbow it open and it like crumbles and opens up and I go down into the basement and I'm walking down, into the hall and getting closer to her bedroom and I can hear what's going on in there. And I knock on the door and I try to open the door and it's locked and I can hear um, my husband's voice and I can hear her tell him to shut the F up. And I tried to do the same with this door and I couldn't get through. It was a lot stronger. It was like a steel door, like the door that you would have on like the outside of your house. That was her bedroom door. I couldn't get through and I was like, what the hell? What do I do? They're not gonna come out and just come see me. So I just kind of decided to go back upstairs and wait it out. I was like, all right, well, can't take very long, can it? So I'm sitting up there and I'm waiting, and then here comes the morning, right? And I go downstairs to like see if they've come out, and they were out. They were sitting in the living room of the basement down there and just watching TV on the couch. Like, uh, Martha was sitting up on the couch, and Blue was like kind of down on the ground, but like leaned up against the couch in like her legs. And I came around the corner and I like got down on my knees and I sat on my knees beside them and I was like, so is this love? And Blue looked at me and he like got up off the ground from sitting with me down on the ground. He got up off the ground and he like sat up with her on the couch and he says, why not? And she was looking at me and she didn't have anything to say. She was just smiling. And she kept looking at him and smiling and he kept looking at her and smiling and they actually genuinely looked happy. They genuinely looked like they were falling for each other or had fallen for each other and were in love. And he looked happier than I'd seen him look in a long time. And I realized like he's not happy, but when he's looking at her, he is happy. And I said, okay. So then I looked at Martha and I looked her in the face and I said, will you be good to my kids? Because I knew in my heart that if she takes my husband, that, well, she's damn well going to take my kids too, because he's going to be a father still. And she looked me straight in the face and she says, I don't want your fucking kids. And I woke up and I cried and cried. It was a very bad dream. That was not a good dream. That one sucked. But I was ready to let him go and be happy because I knew that I wasn't happy either. And if he was capable of doing that, well, I just didn't want anything to deal with it anymore. And it kind of made me think of my favorite story The Little Mermaid. And not like the Disney one that everybody knows, like the old school one. The Little Mermaid, she was the youngest, and I guess in this world, mermaids don't have a soul, um, but they live for 300 years, and they get like 300 years of happiness or whatever on Earth, and then they die and they turn into sea foam. Well, the Little Mermaid, she goes to the surface, she sees the prince, she saves him, just like in the Disney one. That all happens, but when she puts him up on the shore, um, a group of nuns and like schoolgirls like walk up, and one of the girls comes and revives the prince, and he like sees her for the first time, and he thinks that she's the one who saved him, and like the nuns and everybody take him in and like um fix him up, and he's the prince and blah blah blah. And the Little Mermaid finds the sea witch, and she gives her tongue for legs, and the stipulation is that if she doesn't get the prince to love her, then she'll turn into sea foam on the morning he marries another. And pardon me. I don't know why I get choked up when I do this. But she takes the legs. One of the things too, she can't talk, right? So she's mute. But and she's technically a mermaid, so she like has these moves, like she can move like no other creature on land. Like she her dance moves are like spectacular, magical. But every step she takes feels like she's walking on the blades of knives. Sorry, that one gets me. Because I personally have really painful feet. Sorry, hold on. All right, I'm back. Um, so she can dance like no other, right? And this is how she wins over the prince. But she can't talk. And like the prince finds her like washed on the shore, and he like sees himself in her, and but she can't talk, and he kind of like keeps her like a pet. He like lets her sleep on a pillow at the foot of his bed or something. Like I don't know, like reading the story, he's the prince is definitely banging this girl, and like not the prince is a douche. But because he like kisses her and stuff, he kisses her rosy lips. Like come on, man, just marry her. He tells her, if I can't find a princess, I'll marry you, my dumb pet, or something. Like, and he's not calling her dumb like she's stupid. He's calling her dumb like she can't talk. And um, she wins the prince over. He's starting to kind of fall in love with her, but he's getting older, and the king wants to like do a treaty with the other king across the way. And so the other king brings his daughter to marry the prince. And when he sees her, it's the girl from the shore who revived him on the shore. It's the girl, and the Little Mermaid saw the whole thing, so she recognizes her too. She was watching from underneath the seaweed, um, and she saw the girl save him, and she was like relieved at first, but then when she saw like how he like fell in love with her, she got kind of jealous. And that's when she went to go get the legs and everything. And so yeah, don't succumb to jealousy. But he fell in love with her instantly, and she recognized him too. She was like, yes, I didn't know if you'd remember me, and yada yada. They fall in love. They're set to be married like the next day. And so, the Little Mermaid, she's going to die the morning after he marries another. And um so she's very sad about this, and like the wedding happens and everything. She helps. She accepts it and stuff. And she dances her most loveliest dance for the couple. She wows them all, and cuz she knows she's going to die. And so she stays up all night, and she's standing on the deck of the boat. They like partied out on a boat all night, and for the wedding and stuff, and like set up a marital tent in the middle of the boat for, and like everybody camped out around, or the prince and his new princess and whatever, and while they did their thing. And she stayed up all night and waited for the sun to rise, and waited to turn into sea foam. Is what was going to happen. She would turn into foam when she died. She gave up her 300 years for this. And her sisters rose up. She was the youngest of a bunch of sisters, and her sisters rose up, but they didn't have any hair. They had given their hair to the sea witch for an enchanted dagger. And they tossed the dagger to their sister, and they told her, kill the prince and let his blood run on your legs, and your beautiful tail will return, and you'll get your 300 years back and come back with us. And she was like, oh shit, okay. And so she goes into the tent. She creeps into the tent, and she sees the prince laying there just as beautiful as he always has been, with his beautiful bride, draped over his chest. And they just look so peaceful and in love, and she can't do it. And she runs out of the tent, and she runs to the edge of the boat, and she throws the dagger, and where the dagger hits in the water turns blood red. And the sun starts to rise. And as as it comes up, she just throws herself into the water, and she can feel herself turning into foam, and she's looking up at the sunrise, and it's just really peaceful. And all of a sudden she feels herself rising out of the water, and it becomes really bright and light around her. And there's these figures, these glowing white figures, and they call themselves the Sisters of the Air. And they tell her that she uh, they've been watching her, and they saw her pain, they saw her struggles, and they saw her sacrifice everything. And they came to reward her for her sacrifice, and turned her into a sister of air. And you see, the Sisters of Air, um, they also, like the mermaids, live for 300 years. But their job was to go around and do good deeds and do kind things and witness kindness. And after the 300 years, they get an immortal human soul. And that was what the Little Mermaid really wanted. She wanted an immortal human soul, and marrying the prince would give her an immortal human soul, and she could live forever in heaven. And so the Sisters of the Air adopted her, and she went on to live with them for 300 years doing good deeds.
and finally got to live forever. Immortal. Sorry, that's why it's my favorite story. Dang, I didn't mean for this to get so long, but that's how I felt in that dream. Long, long, long story short. That's how I felt in that dream. Um, I felt like, fuck it. You want her, you can have her. And I'll have mine. I'll get mine. I have faith. Well, dang, if you rode with me through that one, then you're a get dang lunatic, man. And I love you. And I bet you got blue eyes.